Okay guys, so it's Max here, and in this video I'm going to be giving you guys, well, as you probably noticed, another desk tour. So I did one I think at the end of last year, or halfway through last year, maybe about a year ago. But a lot has happened, and I don't think I have the same things powering the setup, so that'd be interesting. So yeah, let's get into it. But first tea. So guys, the first thing I'm going to talk to you is probably the first thing you see, which is the 21.5 inch Asus monitor, and that is a 1080p monitor that only has one VGA port, so it's on its own stand that I made, which also has a USB hub inside of it, which is useful, but underneath that is a splitter so I can plug two devices into the monitor and easily switch them over with a flick of a switch. So the next thing I'd like to talk about, which isn't a laptop, is the two peripherals I have on my desk, which, as you can see, is not a mouse. It is a Apple trackpad from, it's first gen, so it is an actual genuine Apple trackpad, but it's cracked, as I did kind of show you in a previous video. But yeah, it works fine, and so far I've had it a few months and haven't had to replace the battery, not charging, because this one is chargeable. But also right next to that is a Bluetooth keyboard, which, as you notice, looks very much like an Apple keyboard but has black and not white keys. And that is just a third party, it's not aluminium, it's plastic, the silver stuff is plastic. But it works fine, and it only costs 15 quid, so yeah, I quite like that. And by the way, price of the trackpad was £12, I think, so pretty cheap for an actual genuine Apple trackpad. But I went for the non-genuine keyboard because it was a lot cheaper, because for some reason the keyboards are a lot more expensive. Also, I quite like black keys on it as it kind of matches the laptop, and I have a laptop. Anyway, talking of the laptop, it is a MacBook 2013 13-inch 8GB of RAM and 256GB SSD with a Retina screen. And if you want to know more about that laptop and what I think of it, go check the video out up in the card up here, where I go through a whole video on it basically. So as you'll notice, it's not any kind of ordinary stand that it's sat on. It's obviously something that's made by me. It's varnished in the warm oak, as pretty much everything that I've made on my desk is varnished in. And it was an ordinary desk. It was an ordinary laptop holder that kind of just propped the laptop at an angle, but then I added a bottom and a back which made it raised, so it was the same height as the monitor if I did need to open it, and I can put stuff under it, as you can see I have. So moving down is, as you can see, a USB hub, and plugged into the USB hub is the MIDI interface box, which I've explained before, but I'm not going to go through it. It's basically something to do with music, but it goes to the electronic drums, which are the other side of my room, and I don't need it for the keyboard anymore because I've got rid of it, and yeah, that's why I've changed sets slightly. I'm not sure if I've recorded here before, I think I have once before. But then also plugged into that is 3 hard drives. Well, one's plugged into the laptop, 2 are plugged into the USB hub. So I have the 256GB SSD on my laptop, which obviously isn't enough to store a lot of files, so I store the music files from Ableton on there, and any apps and obvious kind of things, and little files and downloads and stuff, but nothing major. And that all gets backed up on Time Machine into a 320GB hard drive, external. They're all external because they're plug into the USB hub and laptop itself. And then there's the 1 terabyte hard drive in its red case, which is the only one you can see from the front, which is a good Seagate one. It's not a cheap one like the other one, and that houses all my files on, and I've got something like 600 gigabytes on there. But then there is another hard drive situated behind the stand, which is also a 1 terabyte, but this I have to manually back it up by dragging files over, but that backs up all my files on the terabyte hard drive, because I did for about 6 months have it only on the terabyte hard drive, and it's quite scary because it's moving around from location to location and knowing that's only one copy of everything you own, and if that gets ruined, everything you own is gone. So I was really nervous, and now I've got a backup. Everything I own is copied over and in 2 places. If I save something, I'll make sure I copy it over. But those hard drives stay there. I used to take the backups with me, but it damages them and stuff because one of my hard drives broke. But luckily it's a backup one. But I was more like, maybe keep the backups in one place because then it means they're safe, and as they're hard drives, none of them are SSDs because it's so expensive. Later on, I'm going to definitely invest in SSDs, but I don't have the money. So yeah, always back up your stuff, and don't bring backup cards with you because they're just as vulnerable and more likely to get broken. Back up when you come back. Maybe bring a backup with you, then have 2 backups. Moving on, as you can see, my setup is lit by LEDs that are coloured, and they're the ones like here, they're the same colour as these. There's a pair behind the monitor which plug into the little USB hub. The USB hub in the side of the monitor stand is just powered by a main socket, it doesn't go into a computer, so that's just for powering LEDs and charging phones. And the LEDs behind look quite nice, and then as you can see, underneath and at the back of the wall is some stars, and that is simply just for decoration, as around Christmas time I got into making loads of stars, and yeah, I've got a whole array of them. So moving on now over to the other quite large things on my desk is the 100-watt speakers that I built about 2 years ago, which I've also made a video on. I'll try to dig that up and put that in the card up here, which is quite interesting. That's in a couple of parts because I wasn't very good at shortening videos and making them as direct as possible, but they work really well even though I built them so long ago. They're on their own stands, which I built a bit after the speakers, but they sound great, they go really loud, they got bass, they got their own little amp which is situated under the desk, and they're all the speakers I need for in here, because then I also have portable speakers, 2 portable speakers which I can take places, which I've also made. So on the right hand side of the desk in front of the right speaker is a headphone stand which illuminates green in between some bits of acrylic which are in between some bits of MDF, which is obviously varnished in the warm oak varnish, and this one came up really nice because I sanded it in between coats and it looks really nice and rustic. But that only really holds my headphones and phone occasionally if I'm playing music from the other speakers, which I'll get to in a minute. So then moving on over to the other side of my monitor is, as you can see, a lamp, and these lamps I make and sell for £15. I would much appreciate if you would click the link in the description. It'll be the first thing you see as you scroll down to the description, and please buy one for £15 with £3 postage, so £18 total. I've got a lot of them just above here. There's this shelf here is the shelf of stuff I've made, and then the shelf above has just got those lamps on, so please buy, much appreciated, because then I can make more videos and buy more equipment like I have already. So as you can see, just moving on a little bit, is a little desk organizer, different to the one that was up here and different to the one that was probably in the last desk setup tour, but this one has 2 pencil areas, an area for a phone again, and then a little compartment for storing little notepads like I've got in there, and randomly a ruler and a stapler and some random things, but basically it's good for storing little items in there, and it's of course varnished in a warm oak varnish. And above that, as you can see, there is a little sign which has the name of my old YouTube, which is completely irrelevant now, and I want to change it to a phrase which I said at the beginning of this video. But first, tea. And that's the phrase, by the way. I'm not just making you wait so I can say the phrase. Anyway, and then moving on past the 100-watt speaker, the left one, is a box that I made in school, and we had to do it around a designer. That's why it's got the red circle on the front with a sticker on, which makes it kind of look like a rose, I guess. I hope it does, because it was inspired by a designer called Charles Rennie Mackintosh that we had to do in school. But anyway, and then it's got a cool it's got a cool handle, which is a little branch which I whittled and then sanded down and varnished and made it nice and smooth, and that looks pretty cool. And then when you take that off, it's got a little shelf and then some organisers in the bottom, and yeah, I use that a lot. It stores lots of little items that don't need to be really seen. And then to the left of there, as you can see, I've got some photos and some just a drawing and then a ticket to a show I went, and a little calendar, but that's kind of all irrelevant stuff, but you know, the pictures are nice. I've also printed some new ones that are over here that look really nice because they're on proper paper. So then underneath the desk on the left hand side next to the amp is 3 drawers. The top one houses a nice little compartment which I can store batteries in and SD cards, and then the camera body, and then 2 lenses with foam padded underneath them. But then also in the main section, which I used to have my camera bag in, is a whole charging space which has got a USB charger with 5 USBs, and I can velcro docks down, and it's really convenient for just plonking stuff down, plugging them on charge, taking them out, and yeah, it's very useful. And in the drawer below is a load of random bits for computers, like heat sink paste and all sorts. And then in the drawer below that is a load of art stuff and drawing pads and drawing pens and all of that stuff, which I sometimes use, and I'd like to use more often, but I don't. So moving on to the right hand side of the desk, underneath the desk, is a laptop, which is very peculiar, as you can tell, and that is because it is a laptop made out of wood that obviously I made, but not in warm oak varnish this time. It is in carbon fibre vinyl wrap, which only because I had loads of MDF, and MDF doesn't look very nice really. But I just wanted to kind of make it because I've got my MacBook and that was my old laptop, so I just plugged it in. And also I made a video before I made it into that, and you can go check out what it was like before I did this, and that is in the card up here. But it looks pretty cool, as you can see in the shots that I've taken. And it's fully functional, it just doesn't have a battery because I took that out, or a CD drive because no one uses that anymore. But it's mainly going to be sat there, and that's plugged into the monitor as well, but I can use it as a laptop if I need. So then, as you can see, underneath that is the 12-volt box that I've made, but if you are very observant like I am, you'll notice a few changes, and that is the fact that the speakers and the bottom compartment have now been swapped around, so that compartment is now in the middle, which has a charge controller on, so it regulates the charge properly and tells me the voltage. And yeah, it seems to be working fine. Also I swapped out the battery again, but only to the old battery because that one seemed to be working better. But it's all charging now, as we've got some sunny weather when it's not raining or cloudy like it is at the moment. Tomorrow's supposed to be good though. But the sound system on it, the speakers work really well, like compared to the Bluetooth speaker I made, which also what I did in one of my videos. And they just sound really good compared to that, probably because they're like 4 times the watt, even though they're smaller. But it makes it quite good that they're compact, and it also runs at 12 volts, it's got more power and stuff. But yeah, really good. And if you want to know more about that box before I put the charge controller, it's quite an old video, you can check it out up there. I think I've run out of cards now, if that wasn't the last card. So I've tried to get through this as fast as possible, but I'm pretty bad at narrowing things down to the necessities. You can probably skip through this video if you haven't already, and if you're still watching now, thank you very much, and I would much appreciate if you checked out my other videos, subscribed, and if you enjoyed the video, remember to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will definitely see you in the next video next Wednesday.